Hey guys, Wes here from A Life of Movement. Going to be showing you guys some arm circles with back bends. And so this is another one of those exercises that really I'm a fan of because it's basically your entire upper body is getting a lot of central nervous system input, is getting a lot of exploratory play, and is basically it's a good way to kind of wake the whole system upstairs, wake it up. So you're moving your arms around in a full circle to the front, and then when you get to the side and you no longer have any space, it's using your torso to basically go into a rotating back bend to give yourself more space. So what we're seeing is this first one, and in this first one I was just kind of like basically exploring the movement, figuring out what it felt like. And then in a few seconds here, you'll see that same movement performed a few days later. And I think you'll notice that the contrast is actually relatively stark. And with some of these movements, I think you'll be surprised at how quickly you can learn. And the point is not to be doing this movement like I do it. The point is that I'm basically giving you a game that you can play with yourself that is safe. In this movement, I like it because it gives you the ability to self-adjust how difficult you want it to be based on how far you go. It can actually be quite challenging the more you are into the back bend, or if you lean forward relatively far without any support from your arms, you're just dragging them. But so, with a lot of these movements, I just kind of want to get some general principles across of why we might ever want to do this. Because I think anyone will agree that, if they see you doing this, it's not going to be clear exactly what the point is. And the point is certainly not to be able to perform the movement. It's not to see how far back you can bend. It's not to see how far you can do anything. The point of this is that it gives you a wide open space for your central nervous system to basically learn, hey, what is up with my upper body right now? Where am I stuck? And that's kind of a thing that we'll go back to. One of the nice things about having any motion that has these full kind of circular patterns is that you're likely to find the areas where maybe you have some muscular tension, maybe you have like some past injury. And again, with a lot of these things, it's never pushing into, rather it's tracing around is a way I like to think about it. So in some of these, you'll see that I actually don't really make it into a full back bend, or my arms don't fully extend. And I don't want to say that's on purpose as much as that it's okay. It's not the goal, but it is the process. So, with a lot of these movements, I maybe don't give the most explicit instruction, and that's kind of the point where, part of this is you do the movement as best you can, and some parts are going to feel clunky, and other parts will feel good, and then as you go through them, and it's the experience of, in some sense, surviving the movement and seeing where that takes you, and then it's also the becoming bored with it. And then once you become bored, what does that open up? What new things do you try? Those new things may in some sense be wrong, but you might have to go down a few wrong paths to get to the right path. And then as always with a lot of these movements, when I've been trying something, I like to really see, you could call it a dance, you could call it noodling around, you could just call it being a 200-pound monkey. But the point is I'm just kind of seeing what new things did that bring me? How does it feel? Did that kind of open up any new movement potential? And I think it's really important to just kind of get that introspective, oh, when I do this other thing happens, right? And so a lot of it is kind of just teaching your central nervous system, like, here's all the ways you can use that new capability that you just learned. So when you're doing any sort of noodling around afterwards, I like to think of it as a child in a playground, right? A child has no kind of directed sense of what or why they're doing it, but they do have kind of an internal drive, and they're just following that. And I think that's really the best thing to do. There's kind of this mixed mode of, at one point you're doing the exercise, and at the other point, the exercise itself is just a larger experiment in your life. So it's kind of all an experiment, and after you've done any exercise, it's nice to see what happened, like record the results. And so that's what I think a lot of the noodling is just kind of that, now I'm in a new space, I have new movement capabilities, and I got here from this other thing. So that's kind of what I think about the noodling. But best of luck, guys.